Yo, what is up, Sensu Bros? I'm Tristan, and I'm back here with a deck profile. It was my return to locals deck profile. I was on a hiatus because I was in grad school, so it was nice to be able to, get back, shoot the shop with the guys. And this was the deck I decided to play, Cell. I know another Cell deck profile, but it's good to understand more of the philosophy behind the deck. So the front, you see something, top 5, it's an activate main, so you can do it on your turn if you're on the play. And then you pitch a card. You take a card from the top 5 and then pitch a card, so it's not a +1 advantage, but there is a lot of cards in the drop area that will give you virtual advantage to be able to take advantage of this leader's effect. It's an untapped 2 surge leader, so it's put 2 under to give you your 2 surge effects. You have the time walk effect, which is pretty busted against decks that can clap back pretty easily. So they play all their battle cards in rest modes. Not many decks have unison-based strategies for winning, except maybe King Cold and then a blue deck that slams down the Majin Buu Unison, which is pretty much almost every blue deck now. So that effect is still really useful since battle cards are the main way to still win games. Unisons you could usually deal with with pressure. And then the other effect is RNG hand control. I use this effect a lot more just because I want to just destroy their hand and then pass the turn and then destroy whatever's left and systematically swing, put them back to 0 cards in hand, swing, put them back to 0 cards in hand. So what makes this deck good? This package, Dark Broly, Devora, Ball. This is essentially activating a free Rebriand on your turn every turn. When you want to play this is turn 3. Turn 3, I mean, if you can Windmill Slam at turn 3, that's great because you can awaken pretty well. But sometimes you want to just kind of take their hand apart turn 3 because staying on the awakened sign as long as possible is great just because you get to see more cards. But if you feel you can out-aggress them and kill them turn 3 or 4 by just your pure hand destruction and the bodies you can put on the board, Windmill Slamming him on 3, on Awakening, untap 2, it's a pretty good effect. You could either have 2 up for a Floodgate or 2 up to kill more cards. What makes this a combination so busted is you got the Dark Broly's auto. When the card is removed by a non-keyword skill, that your opponent loses a marker. So this is an intended interaction. This all came out in set 11. Set 11 is a over-tutored set, I feel like, when you look at the sets now. So you pitch him, you get this by removing a marker. So no energy cost. You net 0, your opponent minuses 1, and then the +2, you pitch a card, your opponent pitches a card, and they choose a card to KO. So they can, most decks are playing Zamasu counterplay, so they'll just say this card, because it is indestructible and can be KO'd. And that's no big deal. Blue-Yellow is a tough matchup just because how many cards it draws, and if they have the Blue-Yellow up, they can delay you playing this, so that's pretty powerful. So yeah, he gets a ton of markers, and you're pretty much activating Rebriand every turn. Newfound Power Son Gohan, he's a Self-Awakener in the Mirror Match and other hand control matchups. In Best of 1, I would probably play Dark Power Black Mass A, and just because Devora, a lot of people main deck Devora now. He's good because you can swing with him, and then I was playing a 2-2 split of these super combos, but I'm playing the 1 Jiro, so sometimes you swing with him, they try to clap back at you. They try to clap back and kill this guy with their leader swing, so you don't awaken faster. So sometimes this is a great defensive tool for that because it's a 10k setup and it sends them to the drop, which you have a lot of cards that give you virtual advantage in the drop. And the other ones are Defending Father Paragus. He's just insanely good, best green super combo. You want to see draw power, it lets you combo out of things when you actually need to, but most of the time you're not really comboing out of things because they don't have a lot of cards on their turn, so they can't really do stuff. You kind of want to turn their game into a top deck battle and while keeping a large hand. When your opponent has more cards in their hand than you, by turn 3 or turn 4, you're in for a bad time. So really this is a resource-based strategy. You want to continue to keep your resources at a high level, which is kind of hard in this deck because it doesn't generate resources naturally. You have to artificially create these resources in your hand. So you want to continue to keep this high resource level in your hand while whittling your opponent down. I know that's every hand control strategy, but this one I'd say is more difficult just because it doesn't naturally draw cards. 2 of this floodgate, it's pretty much topo. Most of the time they don't even have the cards available to swing through, so it's pretty powerful. Koitsukai hits it, which Koitsukai is a good card that deals with it. But other than that, it's pretty busted just because their hand's usually small and they can't deal with it. I used to run 3, but I'll show you the secret rare I have of choice. It's pretty much a 3rd copy of this. For Rebrian, this is your turn 2 play. It's pretty great because your leader will naturally put this in the drop, or you can put it naturally in the drop with Dark Broly, or any other discard-based effect. So usually you don't want to have to combo this off. You want to use one of your effects to put it in the drop, but if you have to combo it off, it's no big deal. It's pretty great because just more about this unequal exchange where, I mean, you're paying 2 energy, but you're not losing more cards in your hand other than just this, and your opponent's losing 2, so... And it synergizes just with the effects of this leader in the Dark Broly Unison, gaining virtual advantage from your drop area. So more with the virtual advantage in the drop area, we play Draw Ape. Just tapping 2 for Draw 2 effect is always good. If you don't see one of these turn 2, you can play this turn 2. It's good against the mirror. This card's... Every time the format gets slower, this card will come back. It was gone for a little bit in the set 10, 11, 12 format, but now that the format's slow again, this is great. Another 3-drop, I played this Son Goku Spirit Bomb. He costs 1 energy. And then he has a Spirit Boost effect where you have the best unison for Spirit Boost effect since he gets so many markers and he's hard to deal with because he's a 20k unison that starts at 5 markers. So you gain plus 5k, and then if you have 20k or more, it gains double strike. So this is a great little finisher. Maybe in some matchups I'd play 2, but right now 1 is pretty good. Sometimes you don't see your whole playset of Rebrians. Saying like as many Rebrians as possible is what makes this deck good. So most people play 2, but I like 3 Rosie just because it's more discard. It's a Unison Slayer. Gotenks is a very difficult matchup, so when they play, say you're on the play, and they play turn 2, they play their SS3 Vegito Unison. This will help you ensure that it's dead. Pretty powerful. Then to coincide with the ball package, this ball evolves over one of the few free plays left in the game. Surprise attack Frieza. Your KO blue-yellow decks will just choose Zamasu, so you won't be KOing things, but your leader can KO. So this strategy is just a free win con. It takes cards out of hand. You never really want to see this in your hand, so I can see cutting it down to 2. You always want to keep these in your deck because when you want to do Ball, Surprise Attack, and Frieza, you only want to lose these 2 cards from your hand. You don't want to lose 3 with Dark Infestation. So these are usually easy charges like turn 1 or 2. Pretty self-explanatory. More artificial draw power because sometimes when you're doing your like crazy discard stuff and you got like an energy open, and you don't really play 1 energy things on defense, you want to use your energy on offense. So if you have 1 energy open, this is just a great card just to see another card for 1 more energy. And like I said, leader works perfectly with this. And you want to keep your yellow count up because I've had games where I did not see a yellow card the turn I wanted to awaken, which was like pretty problematic. Probably from missequencing on my part, but yeah, more yellow is better. Only 2 Frieza. I could see siding in a 3rd against more aggressive strategies or strategies that are pretty stifled by this, but only 2. I usually don't even use it every game. It's good about 90%. It's like good about probably about 50% of my games. And then the card that makes this deck playable, Cell Dark Parasite, this big bug boy. And best of 3 in decks that can awaken at a high life total, like Launch. Launch doesn't really awaken, but you know what I mean. It can do things at a high life total. SS4 Bardock. You could actually windmill slam this down turn 4 for free by KOing something. And then if you charge the yellow energy, you can play the Super 17, which crits them for life. So that's the thing to be of note in best of 3. Very important strategy. Best of 1, this is pretty much what you want to... Turn 1, if you don't... Turn 1, you could either... This is a great turn 1 play, this is a great turn 1 play in combination with this. But if you see any of these turn 1, your Cell Dark Parasite, Bardock, and Newfound Power Sun Gohan, it's pretty powerful. You also probably want to set one of these up for your Awaken turn or your turn 3, because just once you're awakened, you're not drawing as many cards, so this is good to set this up with the turn that you slam down Dark Broly, his drop area effect. He draws you a card when you warp him, and then you could choose to take a life. Most of the time I'm taking a life, especially, but against faster matchups, it's important to know this distinction, because you could just draw the card, which is important. 2 is Earth Destroying. This is a great defensive card. Also turn 1, it can be just a one for one with exchange. Usually you want to take damage because you don't naturally generate resources in your hand with this deck. So you can choose not to take the plus 15, and they just pitch the card, which is pretty powerful. So I've only liked 2 because I don't use it much throughout the game, but I could see playing more copies. And then my one-ofs, 1 Champa, just because throwing this on Surprise Attack Frieza, throwing it on something else when the game's always good. 1 Dark Temptation Toa, and 1 Man on a Mission. And then the secret rare of choice, Majin Buu. Majin Buu Kabuto Kai Absorbed is pretty much just another Floodgate-like effect. In tandem with your leader effect, 2 more of these Buu negates, and this, you have pretty good answers to aggression. I wouldn't run more of these just because this acts as another Floodgate effect. This won me a lot of games just because I wouldn't set up my Overrealm. So, I would games that I combo out of a lot, more aggressive strategy. This is great because you'll have the drop area to be able to Overrealm for this, and it's just a great way when they have 0 cards in hand to get the good old 5-3 life with 0 cards in hand. This is what it's beautiful for. I could see getting rid of it because other players have said it's a win more card. I would definitely test more without it, but Dark Temptation Toa is just too great because it's a pitch a card, so you're playing a card, they're pitching a card, so you're both losing a card from hand, but this accrues you the advantage in it's a swing. It gives your leader plus 5k, which is relevant, so if your leader is 20k and you're playing against blue and they have that Majin Buu Unison out, you can swing this, swing your leader 20k, and maybe combo card on this, and you could usually kill the Majin Buu Unison, which is pretty clutch. So, things I would change in the future, I could probably go down to 2 of these, maybe get rid of the Man on the Mission, but this has clutched me a lot of games against newer players, but I can see in a best of 3 format just playing Dark Temptation Toa. So I'd probably go to 2 of that. Best of 1 format, main deck BMS instead of this, but this just clutches so many games because it's a cheap body. Sometimes you don't mind going down in life, so I would keep it at that. My matchups, I don't remember them all because it was a week ago, but round 1 I played SS4 Bardock. They didn't see their Unison turn 2. They were playing the draw 1 guy, so, but you just annihilate their hand, it's not a big deal. Jiren's another good matchup. My friend misplayed, he probably should have turned 3, played Zenith the Power, but he discarded it for a go more wide strategy. And I didn't do anything turn 2, I just kept energy open for this turn 2, and it he ended his turn. He couldn't kill me because Jiren doesn't have a large hand size. And then turn 3, I played this Awakened, and I had this in hand, which just stops the turn because Jiren doesn't have a powerful Unison. The leader can get a lot of swings in, but that's what playing Zenith the Power, I think. So discarding Zenith with the Power definitely hampered his strategy there. I forget my round 3 matchup, but round 4 was Android 16. They don't have a very big hand size, they kind of pseudo hand control. Oh, just one thing to know, just don't go down to 1 life against that, because they can rival in the 16 that plays Bad Omen. So that's one thing to know. If you play around their 1 rival, you should be fine. So like they can arrival defensively from their hand once on your turn with no cards in hand because of their leader effect. So if you play around that, you kind of bait it out. I baited it out with, I don't know, it was some, I think it was a surprise attack, and then I had the overwhelm for this, and I killed him with that. So impressive hand control deck. I really enjoy it. Almost makes me feel the same way as Cell Surge. I mean Piccolo Surge, but not really. I definitely would continue playing this deck. Maybe not in best of 3, because there's so many best of 3 answers to this deck. Like people tell you Devore is not an answer. It is an answer. You just have to be playing BMS instead of this. So, thanks for checking us out. Thanks for the views. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Come to Gamer's Edge if you're ever in the tri-state area. We're right outside of like the New York, probably about like an hour or so outside the New York tri-state area. And probably one of the best growing communities in Pennsylvania. So thanks for the views, guys, and later, gamers.